Hello and welcome to the 2021 Super Castlevania 4 tournament. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am Lord Fancypuss, and I will be one of your commentators today, joined here along with Eagle Eye Jones.
Yes, hello, good evening, good day, wherever you are. We are very, very psyched to do the first commentary of this year's CV4 tournament, any percent. And we're very, very excited to see the first run kick off this tournament.
Absolutely super excited to be part of this very first race of the tournament. Eagle Eye Jones and I both, this is our first tournament. We'll both be competing, but really thrilled to be part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe there's gonna be some little hiccups. Please excuse us if we do some weird stuff maybe in the first commentary for this tournament, but we'll try our damnedest to keep everything very, very exciting and very good.
Absolutely. And speaking of the tournament, we have a great race here today. A couple of great competitors. We have DNDNat21 versus Cypherin. And I know that Cypherin is a veteran runner of the game, was actually running it a couple years back, but has stepped away for a little bit, coming back now for the tournament. Cypherin, a veteran speedrunner, holding world records in many games, a couple of Spider-Man games, I think Gears of War as well. So definitely a decorated and experienced speedrunner. I'm really excited to see the performance out of Cypherin today.
Yeah, and Cypherin goes against somewhat of a rookie, I might say. The DNDNat, he has started running CV4 on January 2021, so he's quite new to the whole CV4 experience. But don't let that fool you. He's made some very, very huge progress in this game, and he has improved his PB down to 43.27, which is a huge deal regarding that he only was playing this game for 1.5 months now. So we'll see about who gets the better of this run, and I'm very much looking forward to those guys running against each other.
Absolutely. And even though Cypherin has more experience as a speedrunner overall, him coming back into the game, it's kind of hard to see who will come out on top in this race. Who do you think kind of has the edge this time, Eagle Eye? Any predictions?
Oh, it's very hard to predict that because on the one hand you have Cypherin as a very seasoned runner of this game and a very seasoned speedrunner in general, but on the other side you have DNDNet, who is very, very fresh to the game. He's got all the practice in the last few weeks, and he will be a fierce contender to Cypherin.
Yes, absolutely. It's been really cool to watch D&D come up. I believe I was there for most of his first run of the game, which I think took a full 8 hours to complete. Now he's down to finishing the game in 43 minutes, even better than that in some of his attempts. And so really excited to see his performance. I think you and I on Wednesday, both you and I, Eagle Eye, faced both of these competitors individually. And I lost my race to Cypher, and I think you had won in yours to D&D. So we kind of seen firsthand the performance that these guys can put out.
Yeah, absolutely. And the race between me and D&D wasn't even that close like I thought it could have been, because D&D was so much in his zone, and he was completely dug in to his performance, and he has a huge potential when he's able to dig in and when he's able to focus on the game. He, like I said, he will be a great contender to Cypherin. Make no mistake about that.
Very good. Well, I think our runners are just about ready to get started. And so we will count on the race here and kick things off this very first first race of the 2021 tournament. Super excited.
Yep, let's get the boys on the base. The race is about to begin in a few seconds.
And the timer has just counted down. Here we go. We'll
Yep.
get the stream synced up here in the first couple of minutes. Eagle Eye, what are we expecting to see out of the run here in the early part of the run?
Both of them will be giving their absolute best. I believe everything they've done so far in their practice has come down to this event now, and I hope and I think we're going to see a great race.
Excellent. And so here we are kicking off the first level of Super Castlevania 4. Super Castlevania 4 is a retelling of the original Castlevania on the NES. You play as Simon Belmont, and you're using your whip to fight your way to Castle Dracula and take down Dracula. The initial part of the level here, you will probably see a lot of damage boost, and those are things that will be used frequently throughout the game. Damage boosting is much faster than walking, and so you will save frames by boosting in the proper direction. Of course, that does cost health, and so these runners will be paying close attention to their health as they are boosting their way through and speeding through.
Yeah, you also have to pay attention that you're not boosting the wrong way accidentally, because that can also happen. If you don't hit the enemy on the right spot, or should I say behind him, then you will get boosted to the other side, to the wrong side, and that is something you will absolutely have to take care of. And both of them runners are looking good now into the stables.
Absolutely, and Cypherin showing that he has used those boosts quite liberally, as he only has 2 health coming into the second screen, but not to worry, he will be gaining some health here in the next screen after swinging on these whip rings.
Yep, and Cypherin is taking the meat as expected. DNDNat isn't very far behind, in fact he's just a second behind, so still really close together, those two. And we're coming up to the next section of the stables, and this is where the fun starts, where horse heads will be coming into this game, and we'll see about who has his game up to speed the most at this point.
Absolutely. Fun fact about Super Castlevania 4, the designers, at least of the American versions, decided to have a little bit of fun with naming some of these enemies. And this enemy with the decapitated and floating horse heads actually have the name of Mr. Head in the manual. So
Mr. Head.
we will be running into a number of enemies that have fun names throughout the run. Both competitors grabbing their multipliers that allow them to have 2 or 3 additional crosses on the screen. The cross probably being the most important tool in the speedrun, any percent. Yeah, I'm sure you'd agree, Eagle Eye.
Absolutely. I mean, the whole speedrun, as you can witness it when you watch any videos on the leaderboards, is just built around having a triple cross. So really every strategy, every boss strategy, every level strategy just boils down to having 3 crosses. And should any of you plan on running this game, having a cross and subsequently a triple cross is the most important thing you can do in a race.
Absolutely. And with that, both runners have cleared the first stage, both getting a pretty clean boss fight. Cypherin was the first to grab the orb, so he is leading stage 1 with a slight lead, but D&D not far behind.
Yep, still very close a match so far. In the beginning of stage 2-1, you have to watch out for these hands grabbing from underneath. You don't want to get grabbed by one of those hands, because you get captured several frames and you have to maneuver yourself out of there, and that'll cost you precious time.
Absolutely. This being really the first instance of RNG in the run. Those hands are completely random. There's no way to really predict them. You just have to throw low crosses and hope that they don't grab your ankles. All right, both runners moving on along. Cypherin just about to reach the second screen. Another thing about Super Castlevania 4, and one we jokingly call one of the final bosses of the game, is lag. Stage 2, and throughout the game, actually, you're dealing with lag management as part of the speedrun, because lag means lost time in a speedrun. Your timer doesn't slow down when your game slows down.
Yeah, that's something to absolutely look out for in this game throughout the whole game. I mean, there's some sections where the lag is very, very dominant, and you have to be very careful about what you do. For example, killing enemies on some of the stages actually worsens the lag, so you might just want to judge if you really need to kill an enemy on a specific stage, or if you better don't, to reduce lag, because these lags can be really severe. I mean, slow the game down like 50% or maybe even to 40 or 30%. So reducing lag is paramount in this game.
Absolutely. DNDNat now reaching Medusa, probably the least remarkable boss in an any percent run, giving him a little kiss there at the end. And Medusa is taken care of by both runners. Cypherin now into the river section of the level, where you have to make sure that you're moving with the current of the river. Otherwise, it's slowing you down. And there's a pretty specific boost pattern that we generally take most optimally. Cypherin looking to be able to get all of the boosts on the second screen. And again, DNDNat not far behind.
Yeah, DNDNat has lost some health on the Medusa fight and on stage 2 and therefore you cannot do any of them boosts, at least up to the meat. So he's a little behind now, and as you can see, Cypherin already started 3-1, while D&D is still having a little trouble with 2-3. I'd say he's about 10 seconds behind now, or 15 seconds maybe.
Cypher now entering stage 3, where the RNG really starts to take hold. Stage 3, though early in the game, is probably one of the most technically complicated levels to play in the speedrun. There's a lot of tech here that we might see from these runners, a lot of interesting tricks, maybe even the famous ring glitch that we might see in the next screen from Cypherin or from DNDNat today.
Yeah, the ring glitch. I mean, before he can do that, he has to get over the mudmen, and those mudmen can be a real pain because they do what they want. They go left, they go right, they go anywhere they want, basically. So you have to get lucky patterns on them. Jump over them if they face you and come towards you. That is a good option. But as D&D did, quite nice. Just kill the whip down at the first. Take the damage boost and get over the second, and that's he did that quite good.
Agreed. He handled that quite well. Cypher now on the waterfall climb, getting to the whip rings. Looks like he may be setting up to try to boost off the fireball so that he could get the ring glitch.
Yeah, let's see if he does it.
Textbook.
Perfect execution.
Absolutely yep. Perfect.
That was very good. Now let's see
good ring glitch.
What D&D can do. He practiced the ring glitch a lot lately, so he's absolutely perfectly capable of doing it. But doing it during a run is a whole different story, and doing it during a race in the official CV4 tournament is really gonna tax him. So let's take a look.
Oh man, missing the backup. He was able to get the glitch, but not to follow through to get up to the platform.
Yeah, he was going the wrong direction. So the thing is about the ring glitch, the controls while you're up above the ring are reversed. So if you're pushing to the left, you're actually going to the right above the ring. So I guess he didn't take that into account for just a fraction of a second, and that's enough to go the wrong direction with the ring glitch.
Absolutely. Nothing will really prepare you for that other than just repeated attempts and getting it correct. Cypher now about to reach the final climb of stage 3, where he will reach the Orphic Vipers, one of the really big examples of lag in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. This boss fight is pretty much one of the laggiest situations in the whole game. And there's not much you can do about that, other than just killing the boss as quickly as you can.
Yep, a quick death for the Orphic Vipers is really the name of the game here. Cypherin getting the quick ascent up to the top and reducing his heart count so that he doesn't have too many there at the end of the level, about to face the boss.
Yep, D&D had to do a short swing across the ring because there was a fishman underneath. And these fishmen are also very RNG. They can kill you in an instant, in a blink of an eye if you don't look. You have to be very careful around them.
Absolutely. And Cypherin pulling off a good, clean boss fight. Moving on to stage 4. D&D now approaching the final climb.
Yeah, he's half a minute behind, maybe 40 seconds. So the gap between the two has become larger, and now it's really about how D&D performs in the boss fight. If he can shave off a few seconds, maybe, or if he'll even increase the gap more.
Absolutely, but you can't count DNDNat out. This is Super Castlevania 4 after all. There is a lot of race left, and a lot of things can go wrong or right for either runner. As we saw on Wednesday, there are a lot of twists and turns that can happen in Castlevania 4 runs, and a single death can spell the end of a run or really change the way that things are going for runners.
Yeah, absolutely. So D&D now through to level 4-1, while Cypherin already got Puexel destroyed, and he's now to the Mode 7 rotating room, and that is chill out area.
Right. This is the intermission of the game right here.
Yeah.
Mode 7 being one of the new features of the Super Nintendo. That was when this was released. This was actually a launch title for the Super Nintendo, so you'll see a lot of these are kind of tech demo levels for the new hardware, being able to do some of these visual things like rotating and stretching images and things like that. But unfortunately, that for a speedrunner, a lot of those cause additional lag that you have to deal with, and we'll see that very soon in the next room that Cypherin goes into.
Yeah, the next room that he will go into is it's very crucial to not kill the enemies there, because killing enemies in the next section, which Cypherin will be going into shortly, is really gonna provoke some serious lag. So it's best to just jump over as many of these skeletons as you can to just not have this serious amount of lag.
D&D finishing off Puexel. Puexel, another one of the interesting names of the game. Puexel actually backwards spells licks you up because he has that long segmented tongue that he attacks you with.
Yep. And in the meantime, we see Cypherin exactly doing that what I described. He just skips the enemies in this part of the stage altogether to not have any lag. He just jumps over them, and now he's even more increasing his gap between Nat. So it's gonna take some effort now from D&D to get back in the race. But like we said, one death of Cypherin could turn the tides. So we'll just have to see what happens next.
Absolutely. Cypherin now waiting on the moving blocks, crawling upwards, and on his way up to battle the final boss of Stage 4, Coronat. Yet another interesting name, Coronat backwards spelling ton of rock, because he is a large stone golem.
Yeah, that's just funny. I mean, they just had fun with the names of the enemies in this game, and why not? It's just fun.
Cypherin having a very clean climb up to the boss. We'll see how the boss fight goes.
They're pretty much a perfect throw, these two crosses back at the screen. And he's just reducing Coronat to ash. Very clean fight, very good.
Very clean. See if we can get an early grab. Doesn't look like it'll happen today.
And as you can see on DNDNet's side, he's killing these skeletons. And with the killing of these skeletons comes, like I said, a huge lag. So that just threw him back yet again. Now he's having some trouble with the ascent to the blocks, but that's no biggie. Taking the second wave of this blocks is no problem. He can do it just as well, and
Yeah.
it'll cost him maybe half a second.
Cypher now entering stage 5, which is the courtyard of Dracula's castle, getting some love from the harpies in this level. Another example of RNG. Quite a few deliveries today. Harpies not treating him well.
Yeah, that is also known as the Amazon stage because you're getting deliveries all the time. And you have to pay attention. There is an express delivery sometimes coming in at the very end of the section of the stage where you have to, like this, but even later where you should throw a safety cross just to make sure to kill any of these harpies that just might come your way at the end of the section.
Cypherin now in the final approach to Dracula's castle. After stage 5, the real game actually begins. Stage
D&D
6 being
D&D almost got the early orb on Coronat. He was like 1 pixel away, maybe, or 2. That was really close.
Absolutely, that would have been cool to see. Cypher now entering Dracula's foyer, taking out the Cruella zombies. We'll be facing the first part of stage 6, another spike in difficulty. This is where Super Castlevania 4 really starts to turn up the heat in terms of difficulty and challenge.
Yep. And did you do the early orb grab in your race, or was that Retrophile? Because one of you two did the early orb grab in your race.
In my race against Cypherin on Wednesday, he actually did get the early orb grab on stage 4.
Yeah. It's always nice to have. I mean, it shaves off a few seconds, but if you miss it, it's not going to be the world's end.
Oh, Retro got the early orb grab also. I'm being reminded.
Yeah, he did.
So I guess in both of my races, the opponent got the early orb grab.
Yeah, now we see D&D is up to stage to 6-2 after the chandeliers, and there's some neat cross action going on here with I call them flashes of light, but they're called ectoplasms, and there's a specific pattern of throwing these crosses where you just can't stay in movement completely throughout the whole portion of the stage. Yeah, he didn't get the cross throws very as good as he can on this portion. Now let's look for the bat boost. Yeah, he did it.
Yeah, Cypherin making small mistakes, but still looking very clean through this section of stage 6. DNDNat now now taking on the chandeliers of stage 6. This being one of probably the more anxiety-inducing sections for most casual runners. Still something that's somewhat of a tough section for even in a speed run, especially.
Yeah. D&D calls this stage the anxiety swings on his life split, so that pretty much tells you all about what he's thinking about this stage. Cypherin is now in the skeleton hallway. A skeleton hallway is a test again of your abilities to throw the crosses very efficiently to reduce the amount of slowing down to an absolute minimum. And this is the skeleton hallway part 2. Again, you will have to time your cross throws very specifically to avoid getting stopped down by these skeletons.
Absolutely. Wanted to note that thus far races have been deathless. So even though DNDNat is behind, he's still putting on a good show. Deaths are without a doubt the most costly things in a speed run. They can definitely.
Yeah. Dying will cost you in this game. It depends where you die, but dying on stage 6, for example, can be very, very costly because there just is no cross until the end of the stage, and losing triple crosses here is very, very costly. So, yeah, both still deathless, and now D&D.
Commentator's curse.
Yeah, commentator's curse. He went down on the turning platforms, and these turning platforms with the spikes underneath can be very, very tricky. And now he's gonna get to the secret room, or the stash room to recover his cross, and that'll unfortunately cost him again precious time.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to see. Cypherin moving into stage 7. Again, we see where things can turn around in a race. Even someone very far behind can fight their way back. So, best of luck to DNDNat, kind of making up some time here.
Yeah, but now he picked up the axe. Did you see that? He got knocked back
Yes.
into the open candle, and he picked up the axe by accident. And he's he will be cursing at himself.
Yeah, that losing a cross is worse than dying in this game, and that was just about as bad as taking a death. Unfortunately, now he is not able to get another cross in this level. He will have to continue with the axe and the whip or whatever secondary weapons, but there is not going to be a cross available until he finishes the stage.
Yeah. Oh, and in the meantime, Cypherin did the book jump, which is a very specific jump you want to perform in order to save time. But it's a very tricky setup, very specific, but Cypherin did it very solidly.
Very risky move, but awesome to see that in a run.
Yep.
Always hyped to see the book jump.
So now D&D is trying to salvage the situation as best as he can. He's picked up the double shot for the axe, which really doesn't help you very much. He's now approaching the skeleton corridor, has a little bit of trouble getting there, because if you don't have the cross, it's just your whole attitude and your whole strategy towards the game has to change completely if you lost the cross. So D&D is really trying to reduce the damage that the loss of the crosses has done to his run so far.
Absolutely. There is a whip-only category for this game, which if you're running any percent, I highly recommend doing a whip-only run or two, because if you ever lose a cross, you're falling back on those, having to fall back on those strategies. Cypherin now finishing off the level 7 boss, Sir Grackle, with a commanding lead in this race, and moving on to stage 8, probably the most, well, by its name, the most hated stage of this game, stage 8.
Yeah, I'd say technically the most difficult stage of this game. Everything in the stage kills you, literally everything. Even the floor breaks away and kills you towards the end of the stage. So you have to be very careful. You have to plan your jumps very carefully. And mastering this stage is an important step of mastering the whole game, basically.
Absolutely. A lot of runs come to die in stage 8. We'll see what kind of tricks Cypherin can pull off in this stage. There are a lot of very risky, very challenging tricks, many of which, if you have a lead or if you're on good pace, you probably don't want to try, just because the oh man, Cypherin taking a death at stage 8, he will be able to get the cross back here in the next screen. However, that was a costly death, and gives DNDNat an opening to start to make up some time in this race.
Yep, but D&D yet again has to fight with not having the cross, and has to fight with this boss, who can be a pain if you don't know how to do properly without the crosses. So another death for D&D.
Yes, that will hurt. That most definitely. One good thing about this boss is there is a hidden 1-up just before the boss, so you can perhaps mitigate the risk of taking a game over, but still a very costly death for D&D.
Yep.
Cypherin has made it through that first most dangerous room of stage 8, moving on to what D&D deems the Palpatine spikes because of the noise they make when they hit the ground. Just had to sell that for D&D here.
Yeah, if you take a listen to the spears dropping down, they kind of sound like the Emperor saying, "Do it!" So there's gonna be a section again in the stage where spears are gonna fall, so we'll just let you hear that for yourself.
Oh man, and D&D was getting bullied pretty hard there, but was able to vanquish the stage 6 boss. Cypherin on his way to the final room of stage 8, and this contains the famous Vegas Bridge. And tell us a little bit about Vegas Bridge, Eagle Eye.
Yeah, Vegas Bridge is called Vegas Bridge because it's really a gamble if you can get over it, or if it kills you. So there is a way to just YOLO it and just run over it on the first try. But after this first pattern dissipates, other patterns will take over, and you can't really say how this bridge will develop. So we're going to have to see about how Cypherin is doing here.
And Cypherin wisely deciding not to roll on Vegas, waiting for the second pattern, and is now across and now fighting the stage 8 boss, Frankenstein.
Yeah, which is kind of a very easy boss to finish off this very technical stage. So it's like Dracula put all his faith into Simon dying in a stage, but didn't account for the fact that he might get through and just send off Frankenstein's monster, who is really a pushover.
Absolutely, yeah. DNDNat making his way through stage 7, has the cross back, will be working on getting his multiplier up before he faces Grackle. Cypherin now entering stage 9, the Treasury, a favorite of a lot of speedrunners and a lot of casual players. Great music, great aesthetic, and a really fun level to play overall.
Yeah, stage 9 has a very nice flow to it. It's beautiful in there, the music is good, the stage has a nice flow, and it really all comes together in just a very enjoyable stage. Ooh! And Cypherin got sniped by a skeleton throwing his bone from up there. That tends to happen if you're not careful, if you enter the stage too early or too late.
Richard Bones strikes again.
Yep, Richard.
Unfortunate, yeah. Like I said, this is Castlevania 4. A lot of things can go wrong. There's just a lot of variables here, and again, giving D&D another chance to catch up to Cypherin and his lead.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, Cypherin's lead is still very considerable. Catching up to him will be a huge task for D&D, but we should never write him off. He's a very engaged player, and he will do everything he can to salvage this run.
Cypher now throwing that cross into a lot of candles. You have to make 10 hits with the cross, plus have 8 hearts in your inventory in order to get multipliers. And so he's got to hit a total of 20 things in order to get that multiplier back. So you'll see him throwing that into a lot of candles to help get those multipliers back.
And unfortunately, D&D was clubbed to death, literally, by the baseball man hiding behind the painting. That is a mistake he wouldn't want to do, and he'll be kicking himself for making this mistake.
Hate to see that. Absolutely. D&D, once again, getting to the final corridor in stage 7. Grey Call without crosses is definitely no pushover. You have to be very careful about where you're standing, as he's going to be sending fireballs with that axe that you'll have to jump over.
Yeah, he's...
And also with the short whip, I believe.
Yeah, he is. No, it's... Or is it? Yeah, it is the short whip. But he's done... Yeah. He did what he could with this boss, so very clean, considering that he had no crosses.
Cypherin now approaching the final climb up to the boss room in stage 9. A pretty treacherous room with, again, a lot of skeletons that can snipe you, bone dragons to deal with, and lag to deal with. Definitely a challenging room to get through cleanly.
Yeah. And what Cypherin did just now was skipping the first bone dragon in order for a second one underneath the ring to not spawn. So he just skipped the second one, by skipping the first one, really, and that saves a lot of time in the end. So now he's up to a boss we call Zapbat.
Absolutely. And Zapbat, probably the most difficult, one of the more difficult bosses to kill quickly in this particular speed run, just because they're not at a level where you can easily reach them with the crosses. You can't shred them up, but you can get them into position, and Cypherin appears to have done that very well, to where you can get the crosses, and he gets a very clean, very fast stage 9 boss kill, looking to be on a very good pace here.
Yeah, very, very solidly done. Meanwhile, D&D opts to not go for the boosts on the dragon statues. So that'll gonna cost him yet again more time, while Cypherin is moving on to Ace. So even though Cypherin had a few deaths back there, it doesn't seem to really slow him down compared to DNDNat. So the distance between those two is still very, very considerable.
Absolutely. And it's not a Castlevania game without a clock tower level. This one having probably one of the best tunes in this game, Bloody Tears, a fan favorite. In fact, throughout the rest of this game, you'll hear a lot of classic Castlevania remixes, Vampire Killer, beginning from Castlevania 3. A lot of good music for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I was really... I mean, these last 3 stages really fan service to anyone who's played Castlevania. The music, the stages, design really comes off the older classic Castlevania games. Well, Cypherin is making a little jumping mistake here, but no biggie.
But DNDNat took a death. Didn't quite get the boost off of the stair debris to get through the crushers, and unfortunately, an unfortunate death, but not terribly costly. Was able to recover the cross quite quickly, although he will not have his triple cross going into the boss fight.
Yeah. I mean, triple cross for the boss fight is nice to have. As long as you have the cross, it's gonna be a pretty solid boss fight for him. So he won't be too angry at himself for that.
Cypherin now in the final climb, using the whip ring chains to move through the clock tower. A very technical level, stage A, especially using the most optimized strats. Some really challenging, really specific technical strats through here. Cypherin trying to skip through that floor there to grab that ring, but was unable to do so. But is in the final approach to the Mummy, which is another RNG-laden boss in this game.
Yeah, very much so. Depending on where the Mummy spawns, you could either get a good pattern or a very bad pattern. So here's hoping he's gonna get a good pattern. And the Mummy is one cyclable, so you can kill the Mummy in just one cycle of appearance. So, that one is a very good pattern right now. So
pretty good luck. I don't know if he would have enough crosses to pull off the one cycle, but he's gonna get close.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good 2 cycle.
And that does it. Cypherin finishes the Mummy in 2 cycles. DNDNat still on stage 9, fighting his way back, continuing on like a trooper.
Yeah, he's hanging in there. He's not giving up by any means. So this isn't over. The race isn't over until it's over. Many things can go wrong in stage B. If you're not careful, like in the stages before, everything can kill you here. Beginning with this jump, which Cypherin took a little bit too far. Now let's take a look at this quick descent. This is a critical area, and he got it.
Cypherin on to the Bat Bridge, another lag management section. All these crumbling particles and bats cause the game to lag pretty heavily, and so you have to manage that. Oh, having trouble trying to get across the Bat Bridge. Again, stage B, very difficult stage. He's approaching the boss rush, and although it's not official, the first boss of this game is the stair climb. Stairs already being pretty precarious throughout Castlevania 4. Now the stairs are actively trying to kill you, and Cypherin's going to have to deal with that. Hopefully he will have success making his way to the top to face the final 4 bosses of the game.
Yes, these crumbling stairs have killed many runs, and if you don't pay attention to what you're pressing on the D-pad, you might as well just fall through them. And exactly that happened now to Cypherin. Exactly in the moment I said it.
No.
He fell through, he didn't pay attention to his positioning and the crumbling stairs, and he fell through, took a death. And this one here can be very costly because he now lost the triple cross and he has to get the cross back from a very dangerous position. It is in a candle underneath spikes, and there is a very safe strategy in getting these, in getting the cross from underneath the spikes. But we'll see if Cypherin knows about this strategy.
You hate to see a death there. The stairs boss claiming another victim.
Yep, like it always does. So we're coming up to the cross candle now. Let's see what Cypherin does, if he knows about that strategy to just... Yep, he's setting it up and...
Oh no!
Yeah.
It's risky, and it doesn't pay off. He's got to do the whole climb all over again. Still has 2 lives, still has a commanding lead, but again, very costly.
Yeah, he swung just a bit too far and caught the spikes, and that was it.
You hate to see that, man. Having trouble. Again, DNDNat approaching the final boss of stage 9.
Yeah, and he forgot to get the meat. I was just about to say, why doesn't he get the
no.
meat? He doesn't have any health at all, and he just remembered it and went back and got the meat. So,
and the stairs
going to be a tough one.
Cypherin again in stage B. This stair climb proving to be very challenging. Not giving Cypherin anything at all. He skips the dagger. Now I think
he skips the dagger
for a straight whip only finish for this.
It looks like it. It looks like, because the way you're whipping to this candle to get the cross, you need the dagger for it.
Yes.
You need it to open the candle. So it seems he's opting for not taking the cross and just going straight up to Slagra.
DNDNat in a very precarious, but he pulls it off. That was a very close fight.
Yeah, that was very close, and you can even when the boss is dead, you can still take a death, because these gold fragments that are falling off the little bats, they can still hurt you even after the boss is dead. So that might have just flattened him, but thank God it didn't.
I've got to wonder what's going through Cypherin's head right now. Taking all of those deaths, I wonder if he is afraid that DNDNat has taken the lead or has gotten ahead. He has got to be in a little bit of a panic right now.
Yeah, he might as well be. I mean, seeing that he's now just going straight to Slagra without getting the cross, he might be in the back of his head thinking that he's way behind, that he needs to catch up.
Absolutely. And speaking of final bosses, this is Slagra. He is the destroyer of dreams, as some runners put it. And very difficult boss, a very RNG heavy boss. This is a boss that can kill you even if you do everything correctly. And doing whip only can be extra risky against Slagra.
Yes. And the most important thing in this fight is just to don't lose any HP in the first phase of this fight, because now, as you can see, he's doing these charges, and these beak charges, they have a very, very wide hitbox. So even if you think you're out of harm's way, this charge will still hit you. But Cypherin put all his experience into this fight and downed him quite good.
Quite good. Cypherin on his way now to the Gaibon fight, having to do it whip only, so we'll have to chase down Gaibon to do damage to it. But it should be, I'm thinking, a pretty clean fight. We'll be able to take care of him quite handily here.
Yeah, and in this blue phase he's coming down, which Cypherin doesn't need anymore, because now he's in the red phase where he doesn't come down anymore, so he has to just air whip him, but Cypherin is doing very solidly and has no problems whatsoever with Daigon.
Absolutely. Gaibon taken down quite quickly by Cypherin. DNDNat now on his final ascent up to the mummy in stage A, and will be at stage B shortly. Cypherin now taking on Death himself.
Yep. And Death himself without the whip can be a little bit tricky. I mean, there's strategies to avoid damage from his sickles, and there's also runners who can destroy these sickles with whip only, and don't get a single hit in. And Cypherin is doing very solidly against Death. He's not giving him any chance.
Yeah, Death giving Cypherin a very favorable pattern there for whip only.
Yeah, he came down pretty quickly, you have to admit, but those back whips at Death were perfect, and the execution was absolutely flawless. So now let's look out for D&D having a bad pattern on the mummy. He's throwing 3 crosses across.
No, Cypherin going for the sequel, and
what is he doing?
He took a second death there to avoid getting a continue later. That was the second death was intentional, but that first one clearly was not.
Right, yeah. DNDNat with a very clean mummy kill. Very good.
Quite good. DNDNat on his way to stage B to face the Bat Bridge, the climb, and the 4-boss rush, but Cypherin on his way to the final confrontation with Dracula.
Yeah, the Lord of the Manor.
Absolutely.
And seeing that the boss rush can be quite stressful to any players, speedrunners or casuals, the Dracula fight is somewhat of an easy fight if you know what to look out for. There's not so much RNG in it except the positions he spawns in, but I believe every 4th spawn he spawns on top of you. So even that is very much predictable, and you need to get lucky with his patterns, throw a few good crosses, and he'll be dead pretty quickly.
Dracula giving Cypherin the meat orb and going into the final stage with full health. He shouldn't have any trouble finishing up this fight and being the winner of this race.
Yep, looking very strong now. Basically nothing more that can happen to Cypherin. And he's going on and winning the race. Congratulations, Cypherin.
Congratulations, your winner is Cypherin for the first round of the CV4 2021 tournament.
Yeah, let's put your hands together for Cypherin, and D&D is unfortunately taking another death on the stairs boss. Very unfortunate. He just fell off the stairs.
Yeah, stairs boss not being very kind to our runners today at all.
Nope, really not.
Cypherin finishing at 41:46, and then I believe his official time 41:50 in race time. GG. GG to Cypherin for winning the race, and we'll watch DNDNat as he finishes his stage B climb. Oh, a game over.
Unfortunately getting flattened by the wheel. I mean, there's actually a wheel following you up at the stage, which most of them speedrunners don't even get to see, but D&D just felt what it means to be steamrolled by this wheel. And this wheel kind of takes me back to Battletoads. Isn't there a wheel in Battletoads like this?
Yeah, I do want to say in some of the later levels there's a...
In the Terra Tubes, I believe, there's a wheel like this, so... Konami might have just taken the Terra Tubes wheel and put it into this game.
There you go. All right, D&D making the ascent once again to stage B. We wish him well on this final...
Skipping the dagger now. That is not a good decision. If he wants to attain the cross, that is.
We will see. On his race against you on Wednesday, he took a very risky path to get that dagger, actually opting to use the platforms to go up to the platform where the cross was and then jump out from underneath it, which I find to be much riskier than trying to use the dagger.
Yeah, that's right. You can do that via the platforms, but as you said, that is a huge risk to take. But it seems like D&D is going for that.
He is doing it.
Having the favorable pattern, and yep, exactly that can happen to you if you do it that way. So he better take the dagger with him, because taking the dagger and swinging it across is just a much more safer way. But he still doesn't take it.
Wow.
So D&D must be either confident or very, very desperate right now.
Yes, I don't know how much he has practiced the using the dagger grab or the swing grab there. He may not feel as confident in using that as the riskier strat.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw him practice that. He's of course he's very well aware that this strategy exists, but he's opting to not go for it, which is really weird.
And looks like he's trying again. Oh.
Oh.
Oh man.
Yeah, stairs boss showing its full potential.
Boss. He may be in a panic now.
Yep.
Oh no.
Yep.
Yes, I have definitely been in this position where you're just getting rolled over by the stairs over and over again. It's definitely not a good feeling.
No. And he'll be thinking, come on, I'm in a race, I'm in the tournament, what am I doing here?
Right.
But his body isn't listening to his commands anymore. So he's in a very bad spot right now.
Kind of hoping that he opts not to go for that strategy once again. But we'll see if he continues to try to get that risky spike strat. It is always somewhat hyped to see someone pull that off, and knowing how risky it is.
Yeah. And it seems he goes for it again.
Here he goes.
No,
no,
he doesn't.
Thinking better of it.
He's fed up with it. He's like, okay, no crosses for me today. And these platforms can still throw you off if you're not careful. And there is a bad platform pattern, especially with this last portion of those platforms, where the left side of the platforms won't spawn until very, very late, and you have to take a very risky jump off of the higher platform onto the lower one in order to get up there. But that, fortunately, didn't happen to Nat, and he's now moving on to Slogra. Now, he was practicing Slogra a lot in the past, and also Whipless, so I'm confident he will overcome Slogra in a very solid manner.
Taking an early hit from Slogra, but yes, I'm confident he'll be able to handle him quite readily. Hoping he gets a favorable RNG pattern from the boss.
Yeah. The thing is, Slogra can smell fear. I don't know about desperation, but he can definitely smell fear. So D&D is gonna be heading into this fight as brave as he can. So
Slogra taking an aggressive attack there.
Yeah. But he handles him quite well. All this practice he had with Slogra is paying off. And he got away clean. Good kill.
Excellent. Very good. He'll heal up and move into the Gaibon fight. Whip only. Hopefully he will be able to keep pace with Gaibon and take Gaibon down quickly.
Yeah, question from the chat. Is he undead bird? What would you say, Lord Fancipus? What is he?
You know, I don't know. He's clearly bird-like, if not a bird itself. But as we can see, Gaibon is the one that flies. But I guess, you know, he could be an undead flightless bird of some sort.
Yeah, I mean, he has a beak. So you might be thinking, okay, maybe a bird, but he has the body of, I don't know, maybe a xenomorph or something. So
right.
The mix is really quite interesting on Slogra. Maybe he's a bird xenomorph. I don't know.
Right. I'm wondering. The only other animal I know of with a beak is a platypus. So perhaps Slogra is an undead egg-laying mammal of some sort. Nat taking down Slogra, going into the death fight, whip only. See how well he's able to handle these flying scythes.
Yeah, he developed some strategies, and I mean, there is a very safe strategy on handling death with whip only. It requires you to hold up the whip like D&D does. You have to hold the whip button and forward and up, so you just kind of hold the whip above your face and hope for death to come down soon, allowing D&D into this whip down pattern. And he has to pay attention now because Death is now charging outwards, throwing his scythes again, and there you go.
Yeah, we knew that was... Oh, no, and that's a continue. Oh, good, that's right, I forget that you do have the checkpoint at this point. Hopefully he gets enough hearts for the long whip. All right, moving to try again, once again at Death. I lovingly refer to his whip strats here as the Freddie Mercury strats, as he's holding the whip up in the air.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And now the fight seems to go a lot better for him. He's coming down, and now it's open season on Death.
Yeah, he's got him now.
Yeah, incorporating these diagonally whipped down strategies is imperative to running this game because there's many occasions where you need that. The bat bridge, for example, at the beginning of stage B, also requires you to use this down whip backwards. So having that in your repertoire is very helpful in running this game.
Absolutely. Really nice to see and really great to see D&D's improvement as he's learned, going from just a casual player to a speedrunner. It's been really great to see his progress.
Yes,
He's
definitely.
Moving now into the Dracula fight, and we wish him well on that. Hopefully see a quick finish and another quick takedown of Drac to finish this race.
Yeah, he's stashed up on the secret stash down the stairs. It's an invisible secret area just before Dracula, and you can fill up to maximum health, maximum hearts, and 3 crosses, so taking down Dracula shouldn't be a huge deal for him. In this fight in particular, you always have to look at what's happening at the top of the screen, because these flames, they spawn on top, and shortly afterwards there's flames underneath them. So just by looking at the top, you can determine where the flames will come up on the floor to avoid being damaged by these flames. And that is pretty much what will happen now. Dracula will spawn 4 pillars of lightning, and you can always anticipate where these lightning strikes will hit, because they're gonna appear at the top of the screen first, so you have time to move out of the way.
DNDNat with plenty of health to finish the fight. And
that's it.
Great job to both runners. A hard-fought race. We'll get the final time for D&D here momentarily.
Yeah, please put your hands together for D&D. Come on, folks.
Absolutely. A hard-fought race. Had some hard luck, but finished up strong. That, I believe, was a final time of 52:33 on his timer. The official ending in race time is 52:38. So GD to both runners. We'll see if we can get them in here to do a quick post-race interview. Wow, what a run! A lot of good. You saw a lot of clean play, a lot of really solid runs, and then you saw things going wrong and runners having to adjust and make things happen when things didn't quite go their way.
Yeah, a lot of good, bad, and ugly, for both of the runners. But GG anyway. Running this game is a tough thing to do. Learning this game is tough. Running this game is even tougher. So very well done, both DNDNat and Cypherin. And I believe we have visitors uh, in here.
We
So
do. Well, let's hear from our runners. Good job to both of you guys. GG's all around. Let's start with our winner, Cypherin. Uh, great run there. How do you feel about it?
I'm very happy. It could have when I did the showcase earlier this past week, it was pretty nasty. This was a definite step up. So I'm happy even with the silly deaths I had in this. It was good.
I know that after our race and after your race against Kenshin, you mentioned going back to the lab, and it definitely shows. You went back, and I can definitely tell that things have tightened up for you. You're able to pull off a lot of the things that you may not have been able to on Wednesday. Book jump in stage 7, that was definitely hype. Was that a last minute decision, or was that a planned part of your run?
Somewhat last minute. I was like, well, whatever, just we'll see how it goes. You're gonna probably die later anyway, so let's get it out of the way now. Let's go.
Absolutely, and that was fantastic to see. Really great play all around. Um, and then I think in stage, what was it, stage 9? Was where you took the first death, and it was unfortunate. I think you got sniped by one of the skeletons, tossing a bomb there.
Yeah, that was probably next to the secret area the most embarrassing death. It was just like I'm free, and then just it's like out of a movie, you know. When you see the movie, the hero's about to make it to the end, and then you just like something just terrible happens, and yeah, he had my number for sure. That evil skeleton.
Absolutely. We yeah, we definitely had a case of commentator's curse going on here in the booth for sure. Um, the stage B was you had a rough go there, and we were kind of biting our nails as to kind of it's kind of how stage B goes in some cases, especially the stair climb.
Yeah, the stairs just set off another domino effect that I'm used to. Which is like, oh, we messed up one time, it's gonna happen again. And sure enough, it just kept happening and happening up until I was like, okay, we made it past this point. Let me get the cross. And I had said in practice, swing into that cross, like come race day, it's gonna come back and bite me. And sure enough, swung into the cross, went into the spikes, and
Yep.
I was like, skip the sub weapons. We're going low percent. just
Right.
we're just going low percent from here.
Well, it was interesting watching both of you guys. In the end, both you and DNDNat went low percent whip only strats going into the boss. Just decided to, you know, forget the cross. Let's go. Let's take these guys toe to toe.
Because if I were to game over, I'd rather game over like right at the beginning of Slogger there. So
Agreed.
that was my thought at that point.
Absolutely. Speaking of game overs, I noticed that you took a death just before the Dracula climb. The first one, I wasn't sure if it was intentional. The second one, clearly intentional to get the game over. But did you die there twice intentionally, or was the first one accident?
The first one was an accident. I hate that secret area. I hate it with all my being. I hate that area. It's like no matter what I do, I find some way to just mess it up. So yeah, I fell in there. I looked at my lives and I was like, might as well just see the game over screen now in case Dracula somehow manages to get me. So,
Yeah.
or if I died at the secret area again. So I just went ahead and did it.
Absolutely. The we joke that the true final boss of Castlevania 4 is that secret area for
I
the speed run.
I highly agree. I highly agree.
Well, congratulations once again, GG, on your time. And let's hear from D&D Nat, your competitor.
yeah, commiserations, D&D. I mean, you had a tough time running this game, but like I said, it's hard to learn this game. It's even harder to run it. How were you feeling about your run?
Not a very good display of what I feel I'm capable of, but it is what it is. Stairs boss really took me out on, I believe it was stage 6, with the flipping spikes, and I didn't clip into
Yeah.
into the stairs from there. And then
Yeah.
after that, trying to get through the ectoplasms without any crosses or anything like that. I tried to go for the backup cross, and I ended up clipping the axe anyways on 6. So that was not that wasn't exactly the best situation for me. And then after that, it was just a matter of getting stuck in situations. I ended up losing to the dancers at the end of the stage of I believe 7 and 7 or 8, and then after that, it was stairs on B. It was hard to keep composure on B, especially with how many times, for one reason or another, I think twice in a row, it was just failing out. He wouldn't stay on them, and it was getting frustrating. But I tried to go for the backup cross, got spikes there, and then I was like, you know what? Let's just put this to bed, low percent it. Well, at least whip only percent, and see how we go from there.
Yeah, we were wondering in the commentator booth why you weren't going for the cross, and why you weren't going for the dagger in the first place to get the cross. So yeah, but that kind of explains it really, when you just went, okay, screw that, I'm going to the boss. And you did very well on Slogger, I have to say. Very good and solid fight against him, and I could see that all your practice you've put into Slagra has really paid off on that point.
Yes, thank you. I have put a lot of time into Slagra for a little bit of whip practice just in case, but I haven't put enough practice into whip percent so that I can go ahead and do those backup strats properly, because I can do a lot better than 52. I'll tell you that. But you know what? It was a good race nonetheless. I thank Cypherin for being such a fantastic opponent. He did a great run, and I look forward to actually looking back to see where he did great and where I went wrong, so that I can just continue to improve. And I also have one more round to go, so keep an eye out.
Yeah, definitely. And I also noticed you almost caught the early orb. You were just like 1 or 2 pixels away from that, and that would have been something if you caught that. Retrophile TV in our rehearsal race actually caught it, and Cypherin did also catch it, right, on the rehearsal race.
I believe so. Yeah.
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to go for it. I've been watching a little bit of JC's tutorials, and I was there for when he was doing the Coronat fight. So I saw the pattern and I recognized it, and I went for it. And I feel like I was just off by a little bit. And by then I was still on a good roll, so I thought I had it. But it would have saved me a couple of seconds, but it wouldn't have got me the race.
Well, just a fantastic job to both of you. Cypher, I did have one last question. As you were kind of struggling in stage B, was there any point that you were afraid that you were losing the lead, or did you feel like you were ever in the lead throughout the race?
I felt pretty clean, like, for most of it. But then, yeah, stage B, as I kept falling through the stairs and stuff, I think you can see one point where I'm just like sort of shimmying back and forth with the D-pad. That was the point where I'm like, oh, come on, just and I started like worrying. It was like, just go. So
yes, I've definitely been there. Well, again, a great show of skill, great show of persistence today in today's race. Absolutely great showing from both of you. A great way to kick off the Super Castlevania 4 tournament 2021. And I just want to thank you guys both for taking part.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you both for a great start into this tournament. And I'm very excited to see how this tournament will unfold.
Yeah, if I can say really quick, just thank you to the organizers, the restreamers, everybody put it together. Looking forward to seeing everybody else, get in their runs and just having a fantastic time over the next 2 months, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's let the chat know that thank you so much for being there, and for keep supporting us, and it's going to get better and better and better as the days goes on. This is just the very, very tip of the iceberg, so just stick around.
Yes, and the next match that is scheduled will be on Wednesday, March 10th at 4 p.m. GMT +0. That is going to be between Eagle Eye Jones and Stuff is Stuff. So that is the next scheduled match. We're going to post some links as well where to look into the schedule of the tournament, so you guys can keep up with that and don't miss one single match.
Absolutely. Give Castlevania speedruns a follow, and follow Super Castlevania 4 to catch all these runners practicing and getting ready for the tournament and their matches. Once again, I also want to echo the thanks to the organizers. Thanks Mannix for running the Mannix and Socrates for running the what everyone is seeing today and the restreaming, and I also want to thank 10 and Christmas and Kenshin Track for all your work behind the scenes, organizing everything. A lot of great matches to come, a lot of big recognizable and unrecognizable names in the tournament to come. So we're looking forward to catching you guys on the next one. I'm super excited to see the next races. And with that, I believe we're done for today, unless there is something else. Unless there was more to come, I believe this concludes today's match.
This pretty much concludes it. Yeah, I have nothing left.
Thank you very much, and catch you all later.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, once again. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in and watching the race today. Take care of yourselves. If you have the opportunity, take care of someone else. And don't forget to whip it good. Quite good.
Bye-bye. Have a good evening.
Bye.